Okay, guys, I want to make a video real quick uh, showing you probably the big myth, but the big problem everybody is talking about and showing you on the internet or something like that. Everybody's showing you this stuff, and people are under the misconception where they think that they can take a ferro rod and start a fire and stuff so easy. And you know me and how I make fires and different stuff like that. I like using leaves a lot, and I use different methods. Whatever method I got to use at that period of time, and every situation is always different. Every person's situation is always different. I always say that. Uh, some people start out life learning how to make one from a very young age, especially if you live in some place like Alaska. It may be something that you have got to learn, or you could be stranded someplace and possibly not make it, or something like that. Uh, and then there's always those people that uh, basically have never done it before, or something like that. So I'm going to angle you down real quick, and I'm going to show you the different techniques, tricks, and everything. I'm going to show you of what you can do. I got to angle you down here so we can start making this video here. Okay. Okay. Trying to figure out the best place to put this guy. Okay. This is my ferro rod right here. It's one of those. Who makes this thing? It's that Coglins makes this one. And I'm going to show you different kind of methods of making fire and everything else. First thing you can do is start off with a little bit of this, or you can start off with the sisal rope. I showed you how to make a fire with it before. And what we're going to do, we're going to take and we're going to pull off about 3 feet of this right here. It's called jute rope. It's called jute twine. And we're going to pull off about 3 feet with it. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you that this stuff, pretty much no matter how hard you try, you take it and you just wrap it straight up like this, will not catch a fire with at least with this anyway. Now I could take a cigarette lighter and get it to start, but it will not take a fire. Let me wrap that up a little tighter. That wouldn't be fair to the jute twine or the video for me not to get that in a good wrapped up ball. And that's my jute twine ball. Okay, now watch this, guys. I'll show you something. Okay, and I'm putting this right down on top of that, so it will have the best chance of starting that fire. And I'm using a razor blade, and I'm striking it with the back of that razor blade because this actually works very good. And I'm also not pointing it, the sharp side, down on the thing. I'm using the back side of this razor blade, and these work really good for striking a fire. So I'm going to show you how this works. Up. I'm getting a good strike there. Okay, now I'm getting good strikes. See, it's not going to start like that, no matter how hard I try. That was a good spark right there. Should have something started. See, nothing will start. No matter how hard I try, it's not going to go. Watch. See, that's good sparks. That's still not going to spark. So what I can do to make that break, make that spark, now I can get this to go. Take it. I want to break it up. When it's in its tightest form like that, it's not going to go. So I want to take it, I want to break it up into 6 inches a piece. Try not to make the video too long if I can help it, but I want to show you really the truth about a ferro rod all I can, and I may end up cutting the video just a little bit, to make it not so long, but I'm going to show you this truth about this yet. Okay, let me see this guy. Alright, now I got them all broken up, and I can take and I can untwist this guy. Twist this guy just like this is a little bit tightly twisted up. I can take and untwist him now. If it will ever untwist for me, I can take and just pull it apart now. Kind of get it started, pulling it apart. Now once I get this guy to go, it will go pretty good, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So you want to take it and you want to make it into hairs like this. You want it to be kind of hairy. And that gives you a lot of fibers there for that spark to grab onto. See, the sparks, they can't grab on, they can't do nothing because they're hitting a hard surface, and they have to have something hairy to grab onto, okay? And as you can imagine, that's not a good ideal situation. So let me show you what I'm talking about. And I may just, like I said, I may just cut the video while I'm doing a little bit of prep work on some of this stuff, because you got to do prep work on everything. So let's go ahead and get this thing done. Alright guys, so now I got all my stuff done, and I'm just going to take it and I'm going to wrap it up like this. And now that will catch fire because it's got enough stuff there where it's able to actually fire up now. And the more surface area I got, the better off I am. So the more of this stuff I actually pulled apart and made a stuff, I can actually make a thing for that. So now, hoping this takes off on the very first one. It may take a few strikes, I don't know. Whoa, there she goes. I see how quick that took off? And it burns too quickly, so you can't get a fire made from that. That's not good enough to make a fire because you just can't get enough stuff on there to burn. Or let's see, I probably could put like a leaf on there, maybe we get something started that way in time, if I got enough time to get them to burn. See, and that's kind of one of the problems with that. It burns so quickly that it's just almost impossible to get one to burn, and it don't really burn up everything when it does it. You see, don't burn up everything, and now that's totally smoked. That's done right there. Oh, there we go. Got a little something going. Maybe I can get a leaf going. Some leaf going. There we go. I suppose I can get a little something going from that if I tried. Or maybe I could have took that and put it in a leaf bundle and maybe got it started. But still, that's not really enough to, you know, that the stuff has to be flash fire stuff for a ferro rod to work. Now, I'm going to show you another little trick. I'm going to show you another little thing, the reason why ferro rods suck. And I'm going to take my favorite thing, one of my favorite things, get a little pencil sharpener. And then I just break that off down that pencil sharpener. There we go. Well, I can show you why this still sucks as a thing for that, right? So watch this. I can strike on this stuff here, these pencil shavings, all day long, and it's going to do me hardly no good at all. Alright, I can get them to burn, but I have to use jute twine or something else to kind of get them to burn. That's one of the reasons why when you see people making those videos, what they're not telling you is, they're not telling you that, yeah, sure, they're making those videos with, you know, jute twine or fire starters or something like that. And they got a fire starter and they they pump it up. That gives them a little time for that to get their fire started. Because if they just use straight ferro rod material, it would burn so quickly that they would not be able to hardly get a fire going. I'll be able to strike on this stuff here all day long till I'm blue in the face, and I won't hardly be able to get it to strike up. Even the pencil shavings, it can strike, but you gotta have some ultra dry wood to get it to strike up. And I just may be able to demonstrate something to you about that. And here for a while. So, alright. So now I got my little pencil shavings. And some people say that this works so good, but it does. But I'll show you, it does work good. I've done it many a times with this plain, but that's not going to work great with a ferro rod. So I can start going that all day. That's not going to burn. Alright. Now let me get one of them little jute twine bundles back up and still waste my ferro rod, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now I got me another one of those jute bundles basically, and I got my little pile of stuff here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to have it right there. As soon as I get this going, which hopefully it'll be very quickly. Whoa! Now I can take and put this on there, push this in. I can kind of get them going some with that jute twine. But, alright, you see how I did that? But see, it's actually this misconception, a big lie, that you can just take this stuff here, you can just start building a fire with it. Now you see I just got that stick to go, but it didn't stay going. See, there's always a big misconception lie that everybody thinks you're just going to take one of these little ferro rods out there in the wild and you're just going to make a good thing out of it. Well, that's not true. I can't even really get the leaf started. But I'll show you how to get the leaf started. And make another one of them bundles real quick, and I'll be back. I'll show you how to get the leaf started real quick. And alright, before I do that, I thought about it. You guys might just say, well, why don't you just go ahead and try to start the leaves just with the ferro rod. I'm going to show you why right now in a second. You'll see that these things don't like with ferro rod. Alright, I'll show you why. It's not that I hate ferro rods. It's just more or less I'm trying to show you the bullshit that everybody else has showed you. Come on now, what's the matter with you? See, that still won't light. So, let me show you what will light, how it will light. Alright, first I'm going to take my jute ball. I'm going to pile these right there on top of it, around it. And now, I'm going to take my thing, I'm just going to come on. Whoa. Now those will light up. Now I can get those lit. See, now my leaves are going. But I needed something else to kind of help get them started because the ferro rod was nowhere near good enough to get my leaves lit. Now I can start a fire from that. See? I can't start a fire just straight by sprinkling leaves and getting and doing something with the ferro rod. See, that's just not. It can be done, but it's very hard to get leaves to straight light with the ferro rod. Ooh, particularly my favorite thing to do is burn the leaves. See what I did there? That's how you can get something started with a fire rod. And I could have started a fire from that. Because it's kept palm leaves on, I could have done whatever. But I'm not outside, I'm inside the house. And I don't really mind the smell of this stuff inside the house. It's not really stinking it up, you know. So, let me show you another trick. And you see I'm starting all this with just nothing but my just plain old ferro rod. Okay? Let me show you another trick. And I don't know if I have to cut off the video for this. And I would like to get that fire out, all that stuff out so it'll quit smoking. Thing about hay bot leaves, they smoke. Now I'm going to take just a plain old paper towel, just paper towels, and I'm going to show you a little trick to make paper towels a fire starter real quick. And how you can do this with nothing but, you want to take these and you want to break these up really, really fine. I mean, you want these broke up really, really fine. They're not a very fast starting. And you know, when you go to burn paper, you have to kind of hold the cigarette lighter up to it for a little bit of time. And I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm pretty much going to use a whole one for this little project right now. Alright, so now I'm going to take and I'm going to take this paper towel, this good old paper towels, and I am going to break them up and I'm going to make them kind of fluffy. I'll show you how this tinder works. Take them, break them up, make them kind of fluffy. This does work as tinder, but it doesn't make it work as great as a fire starter, but I'm going to show you how you can make a fire starter out of this stuff here in a second. I want it kind of fluffy like that. I don't want it all crunched up. Now, there we go. Give me a little. This stuff is a little tougher to deal with. You see how that lit? I want it to be kind of fluffy, not all rolled up, apparently. But I'm going to show you how to take that. And I hate burning that stuff inside. But I just couldn't get a good day to go outside and do this. I'm going to show you how to take paper towels and make a fire starter. Strike it, use a ferro rod. Ferro rod. However you want to say it. I'm going to show you how this is done now. I don't know what time it's going to be. I don't even know. I think it's getting kind of late. But first thing I want to do is I want to get that going. I want to get some of this broken up as fine as possible so I can get it to go. Because it might not want to go straight off the bat. So the more finer I can break it up, the better off I am. And make me a nice little bed of coals there. I'm going to take this stuff right here. It's called canola oil. And this is fresh, new, clean out of the bottle. And I'm going to take it. And I'm going to make, I have got another little bit right here. All done. I'm going to take it. I'm going to get it going. With a little bit of this oil. I don't want to make this thing too big because it will not be good. And I'm going to get this oil all soaked up in here. Let me get that cap back on that thing, for God's sakes. Some guy sitting on his couch with some oil and stuff like that around him, why not? Right? Okay, so alright, let's see how long it takes to get this one started. Something around here. Alright. Yeah, I'll give you such a hard time. This stuff is more or less just kind of getting the right spot to get it to spark up. There we go. Now we're going. I don't like striking my ferro rod that much, but this will burn for quite a while because it has that oil in it. Just take off and keep burning. Now I can use that to make a fire with. I can go and get smaller sticks and whatever else and start putting them on there, especially if I had a bigger ball of some kind of oil or cooking oil, some kind of grease. Basically what you're doing with this, you're just making a grease fire. See, every little piece of that's burning. See that? I don't want to get it out of hand. Especially don't want to slide over them leaves right now. Woo! How's she going? I just gotta let it sit there and burn itself out for a little bit. It takes a little time for that to burn out. And that's kind of the point. You can sit here and work with it long enough to make a fire out of it. And that's kind of the whole point of that right there. Work with that long enough to make a fire out of it. And man, make fire. Okay. What else trick haven't I showed you? You see how hard I'm having time, how hard of a time I'm having trying to make that fire go, right? I'm going to show you another one right here. You see it's does not want to take off on these paper towels. Since I got a little bit of paper towels laying around, you know how these jute cord takes off, but this doesn't have quite the amount of surface area. I'm going to break it up as much as possible. I'm going to show you a little trick that will make these take off. You can buy these $2. This is called a magnesium stick, okay? And on the back side right here, you just kind of, on this back side, you kind of want to, you'll take it and you'll scrape off some shavings, and then you'll strike it with that ferro rod right there in front. So I'm going to show you this one, and this actually works better than just about any of them. Well, as far as getting it started anyway, it's about like really striking a lighter to it. And you just want to get your nice little pile of shavings up. Once I get this pile of shavings up, I'm going to show you a trick to it. Alright, is that good enough? Maybe that's a good enough amount. I'm hoping you can see that. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I'm striking off small amounts of this stuff right here to get it to start up and light. This stuff does burn pretty quickly. I'm doing that right there, and I'm just taking these little bitty pieces of shard trimmings, little piece of trimmings, and putting them right there in the center of that thing right there. Now, instead of using the shit ferro rod that's on this thing, I don't like this one. It don't. Yeah, I'm gonna use a real ferro rod. I don't like that too well. I didn't like it before. So now, once I do that, this will stay straight. Once I get to hit them things, just the angle which I'm trying to work. Ooh, see how quick that went? Just couldn't get a good spark. Ooh, yeah. Stuff always flakes up and burns up real quickly. See all that stuff going? See how it's doing all the sparks? Yeah, see that? That's because that magnesium's in there. That magnesium, you can get a good fire going with the magnesium stick pretty good. But I like using a lighter. Alright, so going to show you another one real quick, which a lot of people always say is the king daddy. That's the stuff right here. It's called fat wood. Basically, it's pine. Old people used to call this stuff pine hearts. If you can find it, if you have pine hearts in your area, if you don't, you can always use other kind of tricks, other kind of methods to go and get your stuff going. But I'm just going to sit here and just use my little knife to make me a maybe a feather stick basically, well, out of fat wood. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna break that off. Cut that off actually. Make a little more feathers. I don't think it's got enough. I don't think it's got enough feathers for my blood. I want to have quite a few. Everybody always says fatwood's king, and then fatwood is king. I gotta admit that it's the king of fire starters. I mean, there's a reason why they just sell it straight out as a fire starter in the stores. Well, fatwood it's old pine. It's pine that's been sitting around long enough that it basically had all the sap and all the stuff they make turpentine out of from a pine tree. I don't know if you know that pine, that sap, that fatwood, that turpentine's made from pine, but it is, let me get a real knife. This real knife will work it out, cut it out pretty quickly. See if we can get enough bundle there going. I don't like the smell of that paper burn in my house, I'll tell you that, but I ain't gonna mind this. This smells good when it burns. If you like the smell of pine shavings, that's about what this stuff smells like. You really tell it's pine. Well, what fatwood really is, it's just where a pine tree sit, all that sap running down in there. The pine tree sap is actually quite flammable. Come on. There we go. That. Pull him on out here a little bit. There we go. Just for showing that it can be done, I'm just going to go ahead and use this guy. But you really can't make a fire, even doing as hard as I'm doing this. And I'm hitting that fatwood hard too. Some people say make it a little smaller and stuff like that, which I can sit here and do that too. I can make it smaller, but that's not going to work with this pine. It's just not. I can sit here and make a small little chips all dang day. A small little bit of the back of my knife. I can do that all I want to. I'm still not going to get a fire started. Where'd that little guy go? Yeah. Dog, if you don't quit. Right there. Just trying to start, but it won't go. Never supposed to strike a ferro rod with the front of my knife, but it seems it was my little thing. What you doing? I'm trying to tell you. She can be a bit stubborn when she wants to be. But as you kind of get the idea, that's not going to start. But now I could take and what happened to that little knife? I know it's got to be here. There she goes. I didn't know where it went to. Jumped out front. I can still take a little bit of this magnesium stick. Put it on there. All it's going to take just a little bit of a good spark. get this fat wood go. This stuff is very highly flammable. But most people always start fat wood with a cigarette lighter. Most people don't ever tell you they don't start it with something like this. Alright, and so the ideal is not really to start this up with ferro rod. But even though people are doing it, and you don't know what they've got in that ferro rod. There we go. See, I put a little bit of magnesium in there. One strike, boom, I had fire. And that will burn like crazy. That will burn hard. I can get that big stick to go. After that, I can just take this big stick or put it right there like that. I can get that big stick going if I wanted to. Believe me, this stuff will burn. Yeah, well, can't get this guy going. No, Perry's going to start for me. Should I? Well, maybe I can. Or some. Yeah, I didn't quite get it to go, but I didn't also make a feather stick out of it. But you see how that went with that little bit of magnesium. See, that magnesium does the trick. The magnesium is the trick of it. And other kind of things that will burn that can fight that ferro rock can start is the trick. So, let's see here. What else have I got that I can figure out to do? I think I've showed you pretty much most tricks. It's all about the fluff of it. And also, I found me a little bit of high grass. I wanted to show you that real quick, which I had to cut the video. But I found me a little bit of high grass too. That's another one I found. And this is some dry grass too, because I've had it sitting inside. And generally speaking, we're going to talk about what can go. We'll see, just maybe. Sometimes you can get a spark, take off from one of these things. Man, that is not good. Anyway, I had that glass of water sitting there and it all just fell straight down. I'll get that up in a minute. But, you see, that did not go. Okay, so I'm going to cut this video for a second. I'm going to clean up that mess because that just fell. I'm going to get more water, okay? Alright, sorry about that, guys. And I still got my ferro rod over here. So you can take this stuff here sometimes and you can burn it up. You can bundle it up. So we're going to give another try. A little bit better try before all that mess happened. We're going to give a little better try at this because sometimes this will light with ferro rod if it's dry enough. If it's been wet, this stuff's pretty wet, so it won't start. Just depends on the condition things are in. We're going to see how this works about getting the thing started. Put this right down the middle of it. Now I'm going to spark the living crap out of it to the point where I can see any way possible to get this stuff burned. Yeah, it started a little bit. See that? But it didn't go. No dice. Okay. So, as you know, I could probably use jute twine and go ahead and get it back started. I could also do a couple other things, but we're going to save the brevity of time, and I'm going to show you what you can always use, no matter what, to start a fire. These are good, but these are only good if you get the right tinder. That's my point. You got to have the right tinder that will burn with a ferrocerium rod. Okay, so just going out here and finding stuff like dry grass, this is going to work. Okay, you got to have the right kind of stuff. Maybe carrying some jute twine, something like that, and then maybe your leaves aren't too dry, and you can get a fire started. You can also carry one of these little magnesium sticks along, probably with a little bit better ferro rod, because like I said, I really just don't care about the ones that these comes with, but these are only $1.50 down at your local. Yeah, you can get a little something going there, but see, they just don't start enough spark. These are just, yeah, the ones that on this thing is just total shit. And I could probably take a little bit of this magnesium stick, and just for demonstration purposes, I can take and they can just shave off just a little bit more of this. You can start probably 100 fire. If you get the right kind of stuff, you can probably start about 100 fires with this magnesium sticks. These guys burn good. You can see that little bit of magnesium. That's all I need to get a fire going to this. Just need it bundled up in the right place with the right amount of stuff, and I will get a fire going with that. Just a small little bit. And I will take that ferro rod and I will strike it one time really good in the right spot. And that fire, and that there, it's got my grass lit up. If I wanted to, I could put a little more grass on there and just keep it going. I got a bigger bundle of grass, but you see I just got the grass lit up, which I'm not trying to waste all my grass. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the thing. The reason why some people, and I'm going to debunk this myth once and for all about the ferro rod. I'm going to show you something. Now you see this, and the point is, people always say that you can take a ferro rod, dunk it in water, put it in water just like this, and that's not good. And it will still light. And I mean, I can sit here and dry off my ferro rod a little bit, and I can still get it to go. See, after a little bit, it can still go, right? All right. See, that's the point. That's the reason why people say carry a ferro rod, not a lighter. But I'm showing you that even if it's just a little bit wet, or there's not the right kind of conditions, that the ferro rod will not light this stuff, right? All right. So I got a lighter here. Lights every time, right? Lights every time. Watch. Don't worry about it. This is still going to light. It just, I mean, they always do. You just got to shake them out. Sometimes blowing on them works. Sometimes don't. And I just shot that lighter for a little while. Till it sits there and gets dry, and then it will start to light again. However, though, I'm going to show you this little guy. All right. This is what you call a strike anywhere match. Okay, it comes in a seal tight case for water. It also comes with just a little bit of fire tinder right in here, a little bit of cotton, which can be striked with can help you get a fire started. It comes with extra sandpaper. And now I'm going to show you why this is the king of fire starters. And I'm going to show you why. Now, you're supposed to be able to take one match, be able to make one fire. So these come with 25 to a thing. Depending on where you get them, they're about $8 to $10 a thing. I'm going to show you why. Now watch this. And I'm going to show you clearly that I am dunking this in water. See that? That match just went in water. You're saying, how in the hell is that going to happen? They call these strike anywhere matches. Remember that. And this, I'm going to try to dry it off a little bit so it don't take forever for it to start, but it will still start. This is made by a company called Yuko. Now watch this match. Watch this guy. Woo! Watch this. Whoa! Yeah! That's the king. That right there is the king. That's called a strike anywhere match. You can buy these. They're $25. They're $8 for 25 of these. One match will light a fire every single time. Will light a fire. And if you do everything proper the way you should, and doing what I've been teaching you to do, you should be able to get a match. You should be able to take that match and light a fire, and I don't give a shit if it gets wet. All right. So, and are these pretty good? I suppose. I mean, I'd probably say this is number one. It doesn't really matter if it gets wet, because once that gets hot, because this stuff burns so hot, it doesn't matter if magnesium gets wet or not. So magnesium will start a fire. Okay, so that's probably number two. So 1, 2. Number 3, my favorite, is a cigarette lighter. Some people say, oh, that there's a problem with that right there. That doesn't, if it gets cold, then whatever. So take it and put it against your body, and it will still go. If it's dropped in the water, half an hour later, it will still light. Should. You can see her do this enough times, and it's still. Now I'm starting to get a little fire going. I'm starting to get a little flame. Still not getting her to go though. You can still blow her out a lot. She'll still, it'll go eventually. Ah, we got it back going. See? Told you, you can still drop them in water. I don't care what people say, but if you want to 100% make sure that you can get a fire started, you will with this every single time. Okay? If you did everything right. And I'd say that that's probably number 2, because it doesn't matter if that gets wet, that was still burned. Okay? That's called a magnesium stick. You pick them up at Harbor Freight for $2. And number 1 king, reigning king champion, don't care how cold it is outside, no matter if it's wet, no matter if it's water, you see me dip her straight in that, and it was still burned. That's number 1. Okay? That's the king. Even over the ferro rod. Even over the ferro rod. Ferro rod, it still has its place. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, if you have nothing else, you can probably start over a few thousand fires with this one ferro rod if you do it right. At least that, you know, so that you can write a lot of fires with that if you do it right. But don't get me wrong, these are not king of all things. You know, the ferro rod is not the king of all things. There's nothing wrong with them. They just have their place, and you have to have the right stuff to get something started. That's my point of this whole video. So don't sit here and think that somebody's telling you this bullshit that a ferro rod is king. It's not. The king is still a strike anywhere match, and or basically a cigarette lighter if it still works great, and maybe some magnesium sticks. And then the ferro rod does have its place, because no matter what, no matter if you run out of lighter fluid or not, you will still have a striker to get you a fire started. I think I have done too much to this poor old thing, and she has done welded herself shut. Ah, there we go. Yeah, I done too much to this poor old thing. But anyway, take it easy. Be good. Good at it.